Hey everybody, it's me just making another video today. It's Friday, got paid, had a good day today, went to IHOP, had a dinner there, and boy, it's just been a really good day, and then plan on doing something later. So yeah, this is a good day for me today, and yeah, like I said, just got paid and real happy and in a good mood. But anyhow, today this is gonna be another installment of my WrestleMania series. This is gonna be WrestleMania series number 14, the most disappointing matches at WrestleMania, matches that were many people thought were gonna be good, but ended up turning out to be duds or just one or two star matches. So let's get to this video. We start with the first match on this list that I got on this list is from WrestleMania 3 between the Junkyard Dog versus Harley Race. Now, when I saw this matchup on here, I was like, "Hey, this could be a good matchup." But when I watched it, I was like, "Oh, I was really disappointed in this matchup because it was slow, it was boring, and pretty much it was just two guys who were way past their prime and didn't have anything left in the tank, and they were just having a real slow and boring matchup. And had these two wrestled at least 6, 7 years before this, when they were in their prime, this would be an excellent 3, 4 star matchup. But instead, we got a matchup between two guys who were way past their prime, couldn't do anything, could barely move in the ring, and just an awful matchup, and pretty much one of the worst matches on that card, considering that there was a midget match, I believe 3 matches before that wasn't really that good, in a powerhouse matchup between Billy Jack Haynes and Hercules that was not that good. But yeah, this is an awful matchup, and it could have been good, but it wasn't, because you had two guys past their prime, and let's just leave it at that, as this was just a not so good matchup. We then go to WrestleMania 24 with the match between Umaga and Batista, which in my opinion should have been a good matchup, but instead a lot of botch spots, mainly by Batista, then a botched Batista bomb, and then them not knowing what to do in the ring. It was just a mess. I mean, this match could have been good, but instead we just got a 1, 2 star matchup that was real boring and real dull and real hard to get into. And that's why I got it on this list, because this was a match I was expecting to be good, because you had the build-up was okay, but you had two guys who were on a roll and having good matches and good moments in the WWE around last year. But instead, we got this matchup, and not much to say except this was just a real disappointing matchup, considering who the two you had in here, and Batista was having a good year. We then go to WrestleMania 9 between Mr. Perfect and Lex Luger. This was from WrestleMania 9. This could have been a really good matchup. Instead, it was boring, it was dull, a lot of sleeper holes, a lot of boring spots in this matchup. Mr. Perfect couldn't do what he did before in previous WrestleManias. He couldn't get a decent match out of Lex Luger. As you could tell, his back was just pretty much catching up to him in this matchup, and I was really never fond of Lex Luger, but Mr. Perfect really couldn't do anything with Lex Luger, and it pretty much shows in this matchup, as this was just an awful matchup, and the ending was pretty bad too. Although they did, although it did lead to the Shawn Michaels Mr. Perfect matchup at SummerSlam, but still the ending just wasn't that good at all, and in my opinion could have been a sleeper match at WrestleMania 9, but instead just not so good. We go to the next matchup on here, WrestleMania 8 between Hulk Hogan and Sid Justice. Now I know some of you are probably going to say, what? Why were you expecting this match to be good? In my opinion, the build-up was real good to this matchup, with Sid turning on Hogan for Sid being mad about Hogan getting the title shot, and then Sid wanting to fight Hogan at WrestleMania 8, and da 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 da. This could have been a real good matchup, but it was just terrible, as it was boring, a lot of sleeper holds, a lot of boring wrestling moves. Then you had the the worst ending to a WrestleMania, well, the worst moment in this matchup, when Hulk Hogan hit Sid with the leg drop, and I believe Sid wasn't supposed to kick out of it, but he did. And then, of course, the bullshit ending with Harvey Wippleman coming into the ring, and then the referee disqualifying him. And overall, this just was not a good matchup. And I recommend if you watch WrestleMania 8, stay clear away from this matchup. I mean, the moment where Ultimate Warrior makes his return is good, but still, they couldn't save this matchup because this match was just atrocious and it just got worse and worse and worse. And I don't think anything could have saved this matchup from being any worse than it was. And that's why I got it on here. Next matchup I got on here is WrestleMania 7 between Texas Tornado and Dino Bravo. This could have been a really good matchup, at least a 3-star matchup, but instead it was boring. A lot of botched spots by Dino Bravo. Dino Bravo at this point couldn't move because he was all roided up. Texas Tornado really couldn't do much because he had a prosthetic leg from his motorcycle accident. And overall, this was just not a really good matchup. And this could have been a really good matchup at WrestleMania 7, but it was just garbage. And that's why I got it on here. Next matchup on here is Matt Hardy and Rey Mysterio. Could have been a real good matchup, but I mean, it was a good match. It could have been a really, really, really good matchup, but instead, it was disappointing as the fact that this match was just too short and they didn't give it enough time. And that's pretty much why I put it on here, because this could have been a real sleeper match at WrestleMania 19, even though many people knew it was going to be the Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho matchup. But this matchup could have been the other sleeper matchup, but instead we got a short matchup, and a short matchup that was going good but really didn't get enough time. And what we got was just a 4 or 5 minute matchup, and that's not what people like me wanted, because we wanted to see a longer matchup between these two because we know how good these two were in the ring. We then go to WrestleMania 7, Heart Foundation versus Nasty Boys. I already explained this in the last video. Don't need to go any more into it. We also got WrestleMania 9 with the Hulkamaniacs versus Money Inc. Could have been a really good matchup, but instead was boring. And in the end, it just made Money Inc. after the ending pretty much made Money Inc. look like one of the weakest tag teams in the WWE, as they were one of the hottest tag teams that they had in the WWE. But Hulk Hogan pretty much made them look like jobbers in this matchup. So let's just move on to the next match on this list. We got Yokozuna and Bret Hart from WrestleMania 9. Could have been a really good matchup, but instead was disappointing. It was too short, and it was ruined by the fact that Hulk Hogan came in and inserted himself into this matchup after Yokozuna beat Bret Hart and he won the title. And of course, you know the whole story, and it was just pretty disappointing, as I felt these two could have had a really good matchup, but the WWE just reduced it into a real short matchup, and that's not what the WWE should have did, as they were building this matchup to be building Yokozuna and building Bret Hart into the main event, and instead we got a short matchup, and that's not what we as the fans wanted around that time. We wanted a long, good matchup between these two, and that's not what we got. Although they would improve on at WrestleMania 10 between these two, but I feel the damage was done, as these two had a really short matchup that just killed Yokozuna and Bret Hart's momentum. The ending pretty much killed the momentum for this matchup. We then go to WrestleMania 18, Scott Hall and Austin. Only a little bit to say. These two could have had a really good matchup, but instead we just got a boring matchup that led to interference that really didn't do much, and in the end Austin won in what was one of the most disappointing matches at WrestleMania 18. WrestleMania 5, already talked about it, between the Ultimate Warrior and Ravishing Rick Rude, so let's move on to the next list. Last match on here is Bill Goldberg, Brock Lesnar. Only a little bit to say, because many people already said it already about this. Could have been a real good matchup, as this was a dream match most wrestling fans wanted to see. You had Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg. I mean, that was enough right there. Instead, you got two wrestlers who really didn't put any effort into the ring and just gave us shit. That's pretty much what they gave us in this matchup. They just gave us shit, and the crowd saw this and they knew this, and they shitted all over this matchup, as they had the right to do. And this was just a bad matchup, as this could have been real good, but instead we got garbage. Anyhow, that's giving you my most disappointing matches at WrestleMania. Hope you like my video.